September. We're coming to the final stages of the contest season of 2015. The summer months were kind of the bulk of the season, and I know this is a topic that probably should be brought up like probably at the start of the year when we're fresh, but it's always good to kind of get that jump now, because basically my inbox, I've been getting a lot of questions coming in from future athletes. Hey, how much time am I going to need? And so basically, I think this is one tool that to have in your toolbox. It's probably the most important tool, and it's probably the best decision, or the most important decision you're going to make with a prep, is how much time do I need to give myself? And really it depends on kind of our starting point. For men, ideally it's 15, 30 pounds over your stage weight, or somewhere around 8 to 16% body fat. Of course it's gonna vary person to person, but that's kind of just the general idea. As far as women, anywhere between 10, 20 pounds over your stage weight. I myself, in a history of starting my preps 30 plus over, and it's really not the most ideal starting point, because basically I need more time than what many people would think. And that's the reason why I get those comments, in before Albert's preps for 92 weeks. It's because I do have to take off a lot of body fat, so I do need to give myself plenty of time to do that. As far as ideal rate of fat loss, again, in most cases, but not all, a half to 1% of your body weight per week is ideal. The heavier you are, obviously you could get away with a little more fat loss in the early stages, but as you get closer to stage weight, maybe expecting 1% just isn't really going to be realistic. But again, this is general guidelines. Example, if we see a 200-pound male bodybuilder and we estimate his stage weight, shredded stage weight, to be about 180, so we're looking at 20 pounds to lose, then basically a pound per week, so a half percent, is more ideal than, let's say, 1%, which would be 2 pounds per week. Again, in the early stages, you might be able to get away with 2 pounds per week and not really see any negative consequences from it. But I'm sure, as the weeks progress, 2 pounds per week might be a little too assertive. But that, again, just general guidelines would be like 1 to 2 pounds per week for this 200-pound male bodybuilder. And if we're looking at 20 pounds of fat loss required to see this male bodybuilder get shredded on stage, then we're looking at a minimum of 10 to 20 weeks, of dieting to get the 20 pounds off. But don't forget, shit happens. So ideally, per time of this person's prep would be anywhere between 10 to 20 weeks, plus what I call life factors. So I like to add in, say 8 to 10 weeks on top of that. So now we're looking at, that 10 to 20 now becomes 18 to 30 weeks of prep. And, it seems like a long time, but again, I'm going to go over the reasons why we want to make sure that we're giving ourselves, more than enough time. The slower the pace is, it's basically it's a more ideal situation for muscle retainment. In 2009, I started my diet at about 202 pounds. I got down to 159 in this picture here, which was about 1 week prior to my second show of the season. So it was about 43 pounds in 25 weeks. Not overly assertive, but it's a little on the more assertive side. And then basically in 2014, I started at 203 pounds, so a pound heavier than what I did in 2009, but I got down to 171 pounds, so 32 pounds in 40 weeks. And this picture here was right before my Pro International win. So it was a much less assertive prep in 2014, and therefore I was able to kind of retain a lot more muscle. So a lot of people ask, "Hey Jeff, you made some great progress from 2009, 2014," but a lot of it wasn't so much gaining in the off season; it was more about retaining the muscle during the prep. Had more time. So basically, it was a less stressful environment for me to prep in. So, I was more chilled, more poised. I was pretty loose for the most part. And because of that environment of being, pretty much in control, you're not feeling pressured, like rushing, for a specific date or a specific show. Basically, I had some good time on my side. I was able to make good decisions. So I was able to make better decision making. So if I felt like, I needed maybe a bigger refeed, or maybe I need to back off from my training, maybe I need to, take a day off from the gym or something, I was able to do it because I did have that time on my side. And again, I feel like, the more rushed and the more stressed you are, I don't think the body is willing to cooperate. It's not as willing to progress. They're bound to happen. Things might go really well for a couple months, and after that, body just says, hey, I don't want to lose any more weight. So basically, you need that extra time, to plan for. Hey, you might have a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even a month where you're not really seeing any progress. So you need that time to be able to troubleshoot what the issues are, and you need that time to actually adjust. So you may have to adjust protocols, a few times in order to get the ball rolling again. So having that time, you say again, if you have that time, you're not going to feel as rushed. You're not going to feel as stressed. For me, if the kid is sick and needs to go to the doctor and I can't make my workout, well, again, with having that much time, you could account for these things that are unexpected. Life will throw curveballs at you. Maybe work, it says, hey, we need you to work extra overtime, and it starts getting you extremely tired, and your workout starts suffering, or you're not getting enough sleep. So again, having time to be able to adjust and do the things you need to do to keep progressing is really a nice luxury. And again, a good tool to have in your toolbox. The most important tool to have in your toolbox, in my opinion. You push hard. We're trying to take our body to the extreme, so we might be pushing our body for like 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks straight. And it's nice to be able to say, you know what, okay, this week right here, I'm gonna plan to probably, okay, I'm gonna increase my carbs 50 grams. I'm gonna increase my fats by 10. I'm gonna tone my cardio down a little bit. So basically, what you're doing is kind of giving your body that break it probably needs to keep the long-term progress going. So in a sense, kind of like a race car, you're flying down the racetrack, down the straightaways. You got your foot on the gas pedal hard, and you're going like a bat out of hell. But when you get to those turns, you can't expect to go 200 miles an hour around a turn. You're going to fly off the track. So basically, you slow the car down. You put your foot on the brake, get around that turn so you can punch it again coming out of the turn back into the back straightaway. So basically, if you have the time, then you can kind of do these things to ensure that you're progressing long term, and basically you're not running yourself into the ground. If you're ready early, let's say you're conditioned weeks in, a few weeks in advance, and basically you could kind of taper your food upwards to have you, possibly looking fuller as you go into the show. Down the last few weeks, you're eating more, you're getting fuller, you're keeping that leanness, and you're looking healthier versus looking depleted. So another thing you could do is you might be able to have larger refeeds. That's a possibility. I did that in 2014. I was able to have some pretty large refeeds and still progress. And I think because of those refeeds is the reason why I was looking pretty healthy on stage, full, hard, vascular. And the picture here that you're seeing is the day after I won my pro card in 2009, and you can see how depleted my face was, pretty sunken, and I think basically, yeah, I ran myself into the ground. I was fortunate enough to win a pro card, and but as you can see in 2014, the picture to the right, that's a day after the Worlds, hanging out with Eric and Berto in Boston, enjoying the day, and you can see my face looks pretty healthy. So, and again, that was longer diet, more refeeds, and just like overall a less aggressive prep. Planned for things like birthdays, anniversaries, special occasions. I had date nights. Me and my wife had date nights. I planned for them. Manipulated my cardio, manipulated my macros, so I can account for that and work it into my prep, so I can have a nice balanced life. And not in years past, it was just, oh babe, you can't do that because I'm prepping. So, having that time on your side, you could enjoy those finer moments that are really, in the grand scheme of it all, are far more important than a bodybuilding show. We're all human and we're not perfect. And I myself have binged almost every season that I've done. I've binged, and it's basically your body, at some point there's a breaking point, and I'm sure there's some people that have gone through preps without binging, because they have like awesome mental toughness, but not everybody's like that. And so I recognize that me binging is a weakness, but what's a strength is I recognize that I do have those moments where I cave, and basically, again, having time on your side when you do have that mishap, because again, you're going to get to a certain level of leanness where your body is just like, I'm starving to death, I don't want to die, and you succumb to those signals, that you don't beat yourself up over it. Basically, forgive yourself, carry on the next day or right after the binge happens, keep pressing forward, and basically, if you have that time on your side, you can still stay on point, and get into your shows looking your all-time best. 2009, 2011, 2014. All three of those years were my best at that point. And I just keep getting better, and better at this prep thing. And I think, again, the one thing I've learned is time is the father of truth. Hope this helps, guys. Hopefully this helps your next season. Start preparing now. Prepare yourselves. Start identifying how much time, where you're at condition-wise, and how much time you're going to need to get to your all-time best. So hope this helps. Have a great one, and we'll talk soon.